Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Welcome back to another edition of Morning Tailgate here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am Crispy Bacon here with the Primus. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Got week one out of the way. Some exciting things happened. Some bad things happened. And
Yeah. What do you think of week two or week one before we get
I,
into week two?
it was weird because I know I put my foot in my mouth a couple times last week, but I didn't expect the Cardinals to play as well as they did, or I didn't expect the Commanders to let that game almost go away. I wasn't. I didn't think the Patriots were going to hang around as long as they did. Like I said, I put my foot in my mouth. Had some big injuries. We'll probably cover that during the show. I think one big karma filled injury. But other than that, for all of us who've got quarterbacks that were rookies, I think we've got a lot of positivity, a lot of hope. We get to see what those get built upon. But other than that, it was an interesting week one.
It was interesting. I think I saw somewhere that all four quarterbacks, at least the top four quarterbacks that were drafted this year, all lost in their week one opener. But today there's going to be some redemption. Rookie quarterback will win because two quarterbacks will be facing each other. Rookie quarterbacks, we'll get into that later. But to end the week, Jets had a lot going for them. They got Rodgers. They got, good key players. Some of the players Rodgers had in Green Bay. And then 4 plays later, it did not go well. Did it?
Yeah, I didn't get to see the game that night, but I did find a way to watch it. I wanted to watch enough of it to see how bad it was. And when I looked at it, I looked at that play from like 8 million different angles, I thought. And it was strange because it looked like he didn't do anything until he seemed like he rolled over to his left side, and it looked like his foot snapped back. And when it did, I was like, wow, that was crazy. And to hear and I had heard the Manning brothers have their thing about when he was getting on the cart, and it seemed like they were a little disappointed. They thought he was going to get taped back up and put right back in the game. And when you hear what happened, and it's funny because we had an Achilles injury earlier on Sunday in the Baltimore game with J.K. Dobbins going down with Achilles tendon injury. I didn't think about it. I'm not going to put my wife on the spot because I think my wife kind of called that injury with Aaron Rodgers. But it is what it is. We hope that he heals. But I truthfully think personally, I think he's done. I think he retires sometime before the end of the season.
Who? J.K. Dobbs?
No, Aaron Rodgers.
He retired?
I'm going to think he's going to retire before the end of the season.
Really?
Yeah, that's a tough
prediction.
That's the thing is it's tough. It's tough at J.K. Dobbins' age, which I think he's like 24, 25. But to come back from an Achilles tendon injury at 40, I think that's just making it. I don't care how innovative that surgery was that he had. I think it's just tough because he's going on 40, and we all start healing differently after we hit the 30, 32-year-old range, and everything just seems to change. So to think that he's going to come back at 40 is going to be difficult.
It will, but I think he can do it. What do you think?
It's nice that somebody has hope. I don't legitimately have hope. I think it's kind of funny that today I think our, like you said backstage, that this episode is going to be brought to you by the number 4,
Number
and you
4.
just happen
Yeah.
to be wearing your Cowboys jersey with the number 4 on it. So
Yep.
I think it's kind of funny, little apropos.
It is. That kind of leads into our question is, I think the NFL is requesting teams go to grass instead of turf because of injury. Like it's better for players, less injuries. Do you think they should go with grass fields or stay with if they got turf fields?
If they have the option, if they have the opportunity, I know that there are a couple teams out there that have retractable domes. Indy's one of them. I know Dallas has grass field. Indy's got the same turf that New York has, and we have this. We had that same problem about 4 years ago when we lost Marlon Mack to an Achilles tendon injury, and I thought back then, I'm thinking that synthetic stuff is just is terrible on knees, it's terrible on ankles, terrible on hips. I anything artificial is bad. I think I've been hit and I've landed on artificial turf. I've been and hit on astroturf. I've hit and landed on grass, and I swear every day that I would rather land on grass because it's like landing on a pillow top mattress instead of landing on concrete with astroturf or like a very terrible carpet. If it can be done, I say do it. It's worth it in the long run to add a little expense to your budget and put grass in. In Arizona wheels theirs out. What is it? Does Dallas just open their roof and let theirs
Yeah,
and let
I
Indy?
don't know. I know Vegas does the same thing Arizona does.
Yeah, I think grass, as much as the artificial stuff that one made up of old shoot up tires, I think as much as it's cost effective, I think truthfully grass in the long run is going to save your players' health. I think it's going to save more on training, on the training staff, and it's a lot better, and it might actually improve the longevity of players in their careers where they're not where they're not dealing with the knees, the hips, the ankles. You're also not dealing with you start dealing with less concussions, landing on things of that hard. Yeah, I know that grass is it's still hard because it's still solid. It's still solid dirt underneath it, but believe me, I'd rather land on 4 inches of grass than on concrete or a little carpet padding that's underneath it. I think I love grass. Absolutely love grass.
Yeah, I like grass too. It's safer, a little better. I know why they went to, um, the turf now, but it used to be AstroTurf,
Mm-hmm.
uh, more cost effective and all that. But I have noticed a lot more injuries on the turf compared to grass. So I think that's going to be in the near future, maybe next year. By next year, the year after that, we'll probably get everybody on grass fields.
Yeah,
Because I know it takes a while to install, I think. Don't know.
yeah. We'll see. It'll definitely save the money in the long run, especially along with, like I said, with the training and all that other the trainers, and they're gonna love it. You're spending a little more, but in the back end, you'll make more money with just grass.
Yeah, I think so too. Um, so now we're going to head into week 2. Started on Thursday with the Eagles hosting against Minnesota. Did not go well for Minnesota. They are now 0-2, whereas Philly is 2-0. Were you able to catch that game, and what were your thoughts on that?
It was weird. The only part of that game I saw were the last 2 minutes of that game. It was. I, I hate to say it, but I'm thinking everybody who said that Minnesota was going to take a step forward is eating a lot of crow right now. I think Brandon said it. I think Big B said it best a while ago that um, that they're going to take a step back. They're not going to be better. I figured they'd still be kind of a little bit higher than what they are, but again, you're playing the defending NFC champions. The Eagles just they made DeAndre Swift look like the second coming of Gale Sayers the way it was going between him and Jalen Hurts. It was nice to have both Jalen Hurts on one team and then DeAndre Swift on another team and make massive fantasy points. It's crazy. It seems like maybe the fans calling for
Cousins.
Kirk Cousins to be gone is pretty well founded. I think it's got good foundation, and I think Thursday night showed it. And for people who and this is going to be really funny because I actually contacted one of the guys that that sent Madison a very inappropriate text message on Instagram. I sent him a not as inappropriate, but inappropriate, and I told him and for not so little words, I told him he needed to go touch grass, and yeah, uh, that there's no need for that type of crap in this game, and but Madison's is gonna overcome. I think he's gonna really. I wouldn't want to be the team that's playing the Vikings next week because he's gonna make somebody hurt. But the Eagles are exactly who we thought they were. I think we all picked the. I'm guessing we all picked the Eagles.
We all
This is
picked
a
Eagles,
team.
yeah.
Yeah, this is a team that's probably prime and ready to go back to the NFC Championship game again. So.
J Mac is saying that the Vikings were way overhyped, he thinks.
Yeah, at this point, I don't disagree.
I don't either.
I think people who overhyped them needed to have their bubble burst and brought back down to reality. I saw it. A lot of us see it. That's why we're on this side of the camera, and people who are overhyping the Vikings should not be on this side of the camera.
I agree with that. And going back to our grass versus turf, J Mac is also saying, I bet you enjoyed the turf or the grass.
Yeah. That's for another one of our shows. That's for Four Bros. That I will divulge the my love for grass versus turf.
Okay, and then this week we got picks. Last week Big B kind of, I wouldn't say run away with it, but he's in the lead with 12 correct picks. You and Dave have both had 9 correct, and I did 2. And then this week we're 1-0 for our Eagles selection over the Vikings. So heading into today, we have Packers and the Falcons kicking off the noon slate of games. You can call it the Brett Favre game, considering he played both teams.
I would have never called it the Brett Favre game. That's interesting. It's weird.
They really caught that, but
they should.
They should.
Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead and give your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, after I saw from what Green Bay did against Chicago last week, I wasn't sure about Love because he only played in or started one game, but I think he had four or five previous games. So I wasn't really quite sure of how he would do last week, but he showed, that he can play, and like the Packers said in the offseason, that he improved. He looked better, worthy enough for the starting role, and he showed last week. So I'm going with the Packers.
I was thoroughly disappointed by the Chicago Bears last week. I thought
I
the
was too.
Bears were gonna show something, and maybe I'm a person who overhyped the Bears a little too much, because I think I've got the Bears. I think I got the Bears in the playoffs, making it. But Green Bay are there, and there's Green Bay supposed to be without Aaron Jones, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
If I could be wrong, but
no, they are, and
um,
I think they're out without one other player too, a
okay,
receiver.
okay, yeah, probably Christian Watson still. I don't know if
Yeah,
Watson was
he was one of
deemed
them.
healthy or not. Um, I like Watson, or not Watson. I'm sorry. Uh, Jordan Love. I
Hmm.
I didn't know what to expect. He reminded me a lot, and this is gonna be really weird, because I remember when Packer fans in Wisconsin were looking for for Favre to leave and Aaron to start getting some snaps so he can get ready. And I didn't think Aaron Rodgers was that good of a quarterback. I didn't, because we didn't have the same sample size. Um, we're looking at and Packer fans are going to love to hear me say this. Could we be looking at a replay of Aaron Rodgers with Jordan Love? I'm not sure. It's too early to tell. Um, but I've got the Packers beating the Falcons. The Falcons didn't really show much to me last
Yeah,
week. But the defense in Green Bay did. The offense was good. I think the Packers are going to start the season off 2-0.
I think so too. Big B and Dave. Dave can't make it. He's not feeling well, but they both picked the Packers to win this game. So I think it's another clean sweep for everybody here. Um, then you have the Ravens and the Bengals divisional matchup. Big B has the Bengals. Who's your pick?
I've got the Bengals. I think the injury to J.K. Dobbins is going to be pretty detrimental to the. It's going to be harmful to what the offense can do. It was a nice little piece away from Lamar Jackson, but now you got Dobbins out, and it's gonna show up on the field. I think last week the way Burrow had such a terrible week. I think you don't see that coming again in week two. That's those aberrations, those little fake little things. Yeah, I like the Bengals.
I do too. I was back and forth between the Ravens and the Bengals. The last couple days, I'm Burrow didn't really show much, but the Ravens are without key players. But the Ravens are under. I'm going to go with the Bengals. And Mess Around also said he was going with the Bengals too. So
Oh,
once again, we're all
what is that? 3 straight games now that we're all picked the same team.
yeah, but maybe
Oh boy.
I don't know if that's good omen, but we'll see. Um, Next we have the Seahawks and the Lions. Lions, their stadium is sold out for the first time in that stadium's history. I think they said. Um, so who you got for this game?
That the Lions. I've got the Lions. I think I know they only beat the Chiefs by a point, but we're talking about a new revamped Lions. That defense is scary. Um, and you're playing. Oh man, who did you say they were playing again?
Seattle.
Seattle. Yeah, I still can't take Seattle. they're gonna, as they used to say on Lions radio, they're gonna restore the roar. So
Yeah.
I think I really think this Lions team is I think it's gonna start to do something pretty remarkable. I think they're gonna look pretty good. Yeah, I've got the Lions.
I do. Huh? Yeah, it's gonna be sold out. It's gonna be loud. We'll go Lions. Big B also has the Lions winning this game. And then Dave also had. Well, Dave has the Seahawks. He's picking the Seahawks to win today in Detroit. I'm sure both of these teams are in their stadiums are going to be loud. We'll see how loud uh, Detroit is. I don't think they've ever been this ready for Lions football.
Yeah, it's been. I think it hasn't been since. I don't think it's been since Sanders was in the. Since Barry Sanders was on the team, since they've been this ready.
Right. J Mac is saying, I have must have missed this, but you guys feel like the Chiefs will fall to 0-2.
Oh well, we got that one. We got that one coming. We still got to pick that game,
Okay.
and I think
Yeah.
I think some people are going to be quite surprised on who picks them and who doesn't. So
Right. Next, we have the Raiders and the Bills. Both teams are looking for their first win. Bills lost in overtime last week. Big B has the Bills, and it's his lock.
yeah, I see. Mess around's got the Bills, and that's his lock too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because it's I listened. I read some of that interview that Josh Allen made, and he said that he was a little too aggressive in a lot of things, not taking what the defense was giving him. I'm sorry, but that's the Jets defense. The Jets defense is probably top five, probably one of the top five defenses in the league right now. But that being said, Josh Allen isn't going to be facing the Jets defense. He's going to be facing the Raiders defense. The Raiders defense just doesn't. I don't think is going to be able to hold a team like that in the stadium with James Cook, with Stephon Diggs. I think that with Dawson Knox, I think they're going to have a lot of problems. And I've got the Buffalo Bills, but I am not making them my lock.
I'm not either. I'm also going with the Bills on this one. It's not going to be my lock either. And I think that's another game. It's a clean sweep there. Next is going to be your game, Colts and the Texans, a battle of AFC South teams. Big B has the Colts. Who's your pick?
I like it because this game is kind of like the payback game because we went 0-1-1 against the Texans last year. And it helped Dave get his Bears a great draft pick which he could trade away. But we're also looking at, I think this is one of the first times in AFC South history that both AFC South teams are going to be starting rookie quarterbacks with CJ Stroud in Houston and Anthony Richardson in Indy. I like my defense against Houston. What Indy did last week, I know the score said 31-21. You can't rely on your defense that much. And they scored a touchdown on a double fumble, that I couldn't believe I saw 3,000 times, and I still can't believe it happened. I like Indy. Richardson needs to learn how to slide. After the Jaguars game, Trevor Lawrence went up to him and says, "You're gonna be great, but you got to protect yourself." I think that's the thing coming from college to the NFL. Quarterbacks need to learn to slide.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I've got the Colts, and I'm going to pull my homer card up today, and I'm going to make the Colts my lock of the day.
Ooh, gonna make it your lock. All right. My pick. I'm going with Houston. I don't know. I was going kind of like the Ravens game. I was going back and forth, and both seemed they both seemed like they played okay. Now, I think it's Stroud for Houston. He's been on an injury report with a shoulder injury, but he's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on how long he does play and if the injury is going to aggravate him. But
Well, he's
I'm
from
going to
what
go
I'm
out and
from what
go
I'm
ahead.
seeing, Laramie Tunsil's not playing today. The
Really?
left tackle for Houston isn't playing today. He's out for the day.
I'm going to go with the underdog and go with the Texans.
Ah, okay.
I know. We'll go back to that question that J Mac asked because we're at the Chiefs and the Jaguars. Both Dave and Big B have the Chiefs. Who's your pick?
I don't have the Chiefs.
You don't have the Chiefs.
I don't have the Chiefs. I truthfully think to answer J Mac's question, I believe that the defending undisputed NFL champion team is going to go 0-2. I think that I don't care who they got to come back. I think they're gonna have a tough time. I think they win next week, but not this week. I think they go 0-2. I've got the Jags.
Wow. I'm going with the Chiefs, and a stat that I've heard, and before I bring it up, I'll ask you. Out of the Super Bowl champions, I think they said there's 57 of them. How many Super Bowl champions went 0-2 after they won the Super Bowl?
You're going to tell me something like 1.
4.
Or you're going to tell me 4.
It was 4. Yeah.
Wow.
It's rare.
It's really rare. I'm just trying to figure out which 4 could have been.
One was the 93 Cowboys. After they won, they went 0-2 because they didn't have Emmitt Smith. He wanted a new contract and he sat out.
That's right. Okay.
And then 2 of them were strike years.
So San Francisco.
One was
No.
Denver.
Denver was.
Well,
which Denver was that? The 90 was that the 97 Denver Broncos?
I think so.
The year after Elway retired.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then you said the strike years, which makes it 80, 83, 84.
I think it was 83.
So you're
83, 84.
83. So it'd either wouldn't be the Dolphins because the Dolphins didn't win. Could have been the Raiders.
I have to go back. They just mentioned those 2 or 3 teams, but
Yeah, that's weird. But it's possible, and with a loaded team like Kansas City, I still think they go 0-2.
that's a reach. But we'll see how.
I'm a bold pick.
Jaguars are looking good though.
Today. I'm a bold predictor today.
You are. It just wouldn't look good in the standings.
No.
If the Jaguars win that.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Another game that also counts in your standings is the Chargers and the Titans. Big B has the Chargers.
Yeah, I have to agree with Big B on this one. I like the Chargers. The Titans just don't look good. You got to think about who the Chargers lost to. They lost to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, if the Dolphins are going to be our Super Bowl contenders, I think. And if they trade for Jonathan Taylor, they're going to be even bigger contenders coming after Week 5. I like the Chargers. The Chargers, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, if I heard right, I think they're down Austin Eckler for the day.
I think they've won with Eckler out.
Yeah, they can
Before.
win without Eckler. Um, I'm getting a fan base for the Chiefs never. But other than that, I don't think Justin Herbert lets this team go 0-2.
I don't think so either. I think the Chargers will win this game. With Tennessee, you have you really have Derrick Henry, and that's it. I can't think of any other, besides Tannehill. I can't think of any player on that roster. What about you?
I don't like Tennessee. I don't think they did enough in the offseason. I think the Chargers are going to be far too big in this game.
So do you think without Watson or
Oh no,
Jones, Packers don't have a chance?
Oh no, we all said no. That's the thing is, we all said that the Packers are going to beat the Falcons. That was
Right.
one of our clean sweep games.
Oh, I know. It's going to be an interesting game with that Packers game.
Yeah, it is.
And then we have the Bears and the Buccaneers. Big B has Tampa. Dave has Chicago. Who's your pick?
I think the Buccaneers winning last week was a fluke. I had them losing that game, and I really didn't expect it. I'm with mess around. I've got the Bears.
You got Chicago?
I do.
I do too. And just to make it interesting, we'll make it my lock.
Ooh.
I feel like you mentioned a few minutes ago, Tampa, that was kind of a fluke. And did you hear Baker's comments after the game?
No.
He's like, because everybody said that he was stealing hand signals or whatever, stealing signs.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And at his press conference, he's like, I'm more of a Rangers fan than an Astros fan.
Yeah.
Kind of making that.
I read that and I loved it. I thought that was the best thing I read that all day.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. It's like that's bold considering you played in Oklahoma, but
yeah.
And most Texas fans don't. I mean, they like you, but they don't like you.
Exactly.
They don't like you as the football player, but they probably don't mind you as the person. So,
right.
So yeah, everybody pretty much picks Bears except for Big B, who has Tampa. So that's probably one of our rare games we picked different teams. Now we move into the late games. There's only 4 of them because Monday's kind of weird. We'll get to that in a minute. Giants and the Cardinals. Cardinals is Big B's pick. Who do you have?
I shot my mouth off last week, and it's funny that the Cardinals have NFC East teams back-to-back weeks. Considering at one point they played in the NFC East for the longest time before the whole realignment. Again, I think that was a fluke too. That the Cardinals won. I think this is a Giants game all day long. They may have taken a step back, but we may be seeing that Dallas is a lot better than a lot of people give credit for. I've definitely got the Giants.
Yeah, we'll get to the Cowboys in just a minute. Dave has the Giants too. You're picking the Giants. Cardinals looked okay last week. And I don't want the Giants to win. I'm going with Arizona. I don't know. Being in that NFC East, I feel like all of the teams are really good. Even Washington, they won that game, but Hal looked kind of shaky, and I don't know if
Yeah,
it's just the jitters, being that it was his only second start,
right.
and he just needed to get that first game out of the way. Maybe he'll play better this week, and we'll get to their game later. But Daniel Jones, he kind of fell back last week, and I don't know if it was because of the weather, the crowd. I don't know, but this week, even though it's in a more enclosed environment, that could be Arizona's home field.
I,
So we'll
I
see.
think I think I think Daniel Jones stepped back because of that Dallas Cowboy defense. I think there was just it's one of the more elite defenses right now. We'll explain that a little more later when we
Yeah,
talk about the Monday night game.
right. Uh, Now we're on the Cowboys and the Jets. Big B has Dallas. Here's your pick.
Yeah, I've got the Cowboys going 2-0. The Jets are without Aaron Rodgers, like we said earlier. Um, we've got we still have a quarterback. They were already making excuses for him earlier in that game. He and the funny thing is they won that game against a good Buffalo Bills defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Jets kept them in that game more than the offense did. Again, we're talking about two top five defenses in the NFL right now between the Jets and the Cowboys. I still have the Cowboys winning this because of the defense.
I do too. I got the Cowboys over the Jets. Now before um, the season started, Rodgers was healthy. I was kind of leaning towards New York, the Jet side, because of Brett Favre and how everybody was hyping him up and all of that. Um, but then now you don't have Rodgers. The defense over with the Jets are they're similar to Dallas. They're tough. And I think it's going to be mostly a defensive game, maybe a low scoring game. So I'm kind of leaning towards Dallas there too. And Dave is also picking the Cowboys. 49ers and the Rams, another divisional matchup this time in the NFC West. Big B has San Fran.
Dave
Here's
does
your pick.
not.
Or Big
Dave
B.
doesn't.
Big B.
Dave does.
Big B has
Big
49.
B's got the 49ers. Dave's got the Rams.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this is the turnaround of the Rams that I'm not seeing. I still got the 49ers. That's another team that's loaded for bear on the offensive side of the ball, and the defensive side of the ball. I just don't. I don't trust the Rams defense enough to try to stop that offensive juggernaut that is Purdy Day.
Yeah.
At Purdy at quarterback, I don't think he's there enough. I've got the 49ers.
I do too. Purdy's what? Five and or no, six and
He's
0 in the regular season.
something along
If you
that lines, yeah.
if you want to count regular or postseason, it's like 7-1. So
Right.
he's pretty good. Rams, they just they just fell off a cliff, I think. I
Yeah.
don't know. But I got 49ers, and I'm sure a lot of people do too. Now we have the Commanders and the Broncos. Big B has Denver.
Dave's got Denver. Well, I'm not going to disappoint anybody because I don't see. I've got Denver as well. I just can't see them not winning this game. The Commanders wasn't even. They disappointed me so bad last week, and now
Yeah.
I don't want to try to take them again and against a better team. And Sean Payton gets to skip and gets to train. It gets to game plan against you for a week. Yeah, I still have. I've got Denver, and I probably think it's not going to be close.
Yeah,
Wait,
I
no,
got Denver too. Go ahead.
no Bakhtiari for Green Bay.
That's true.
It's almost like J Mac wants us to pick against his Packers at this point.
Kind of feel that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going with Denver on this one. I don't know how Sam Howell is gonna do good in the altitude.
Yeah.
That's anybody who plays in Denver in that altitude. Good luck.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a running back or a receiver.
Yeah, because you're running all day. Forget that. You got no energy. You've got unless you go there on Wednesday and acclimate yourself to the altitude. We can always go back to the whole the it. We can always go to boxing where fighters go ahead of the time to get acclimated to the to the to the temperature, to the altitude, to the lower the percentage of oxygen. I think it's difficult, especially with someone like Sam Howell going into Denver. That by itself is an experience, and yeah, I think Denver takes this without a problem.
I think so too. That kind of ends the, I guess, Sunday early in the afternoon portions of the day. We go to Sunday night football, AFC East game. The Dolphins and the Patriots. Big B has Miami. Who's your pick?
As Ric Flair once said, I say this with a smile on my face and a smile and a tear in my eye and a smile in my heart. I'm taking the Miami Dolphins over the New England Patriots. I don't know what in the world is going on in New England, but I am loving every second, every snap of that hell show that's going on in New England. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because they're putting Brady in their, I won't say Hall of Fame, but Ring of Honor, Hall of Fame, whatever. Ironically, on June 12th, because he won 6 Super Bowls and he wears number 12. That's kind of ironic, actually. Maybe it was just a distraction last week, but I'm picking Miami. Dave is picking Miami. Your pick, it's pretty much a clean sweep there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dolphins look good with Tua.
Mm-hmm. It did.
They don't.
I know.
They don't.
Had him in fantasy football too. Really happy for two.
Yeah. Helped you out, huh?
Yeah. No, I had him on the bench. That's how
Oh
much he
yeah.
didn't help me out.
In one of the fantasy leagues I'm in, I have Tua as a backup. Maybe I should have started him.
Yeah.
That's the thing with fantasy. It's hard to predict these things.
Right.
And you're just going off of stats and numbers. But we now go into Monday Night Football, the double header Monday Night Football. Don't know why they do this, but they do. Browns and the Steelers divisional matchup in the AFC North. Big B has, I believe, Pittsburgh.
Really?
No, he has Cleveland. He has Cleveland.
I was gonna say,
I'm like,
really? Like,
he has the Browns.
did he not watch the Cincinnati game last week? Yeah, I have to. And I'm going to say, Dave, I got you for backup on this one. Dave's got the Browns too. I'm not going to make it a surprise. It's the Steelers. The Steelers just don't look good. This is are the Steelers poised to have their first losing season under Mike Tomlin? I don't know, but they're going to go 0-2. That's for bloody sure. Because the Browns look scary. Yeah, I've got Cleveland.
Yeah, I do too. And normally in this type of game where it's the AFC North and you got the Browns and the Steelers or whoever the Steelers are going up against in the North, you always had Steelers because you had Big Ben. You may have Tomlin or Coughlin, not Coughlin. Can't
Oh no, I can't either. I
Steelers
can't.
pick up.
But why wouldn't Mondstadt not be wrong too? Bill Cowher.
Yeah, Cowher. You always knew they would win. Now you don't have, Roethlisberger and you still have Tomlin, but it's just been not the same. And Cleveland looks like they're returning to past form. I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
And in our final Monday night game, you have the Saints and the Panthers divisional game as well. Dave has the Saints, and so does Big B.
Well, again, this seems like we're pretty much picking games like off everybody else's cheat sheet. It's like if we had all gone to the ACTs or the SATs and we were all sitting next to each other. Yeah, exactly.
I take that, bro.
I've got the Saints too. I just, to me, it's just, I don't know why. I just do. I looked at that and the first thing I did was like, okay, you're going to choose the Saints. Okay. It was without a question. It's the Panthers. I understand that. I think I've got the Panthers. Weird thing, I think I either have the Saints or the Panthers winning the division, but with a losing record. So,
yep.
Yeah. This is a coin flip. To be honest, if this game ended in a tie, I wouldn't be too shocked.
Right. I got the Saints too. It's pretty much the veteran quarterback in Garoppolo versus the rookie quarterback. So
no, it's Derek Carr. It's Derek Carr in
Derek Carr.
New Orleans. Garoppolo's in Las Vegas. I can see how you can confuse them because they're both not
not that good. Yeah. But it's kind of the veteran versus the rookie, and you kind of have to lean towards the veteran at this point until otherwise.
Right.
But I think it's going to be a close game.
I think it's going to be a close game, but like I said, I thought the Saints in the paper right away, and I thought it was going to be a Saints game. But like you're right, I wouldn't be surprised if this were a tie game as close as I think it's going to be.
We almost had a tie game in that New York Jets Bills game, but
yeah,
that would have been fun.
Yeah,
that's our picks. Now it's time to go into your prime five, if you have one.
I've got one, and I got up early this morning. I had to get up a lot earlier than most of you guys were. I was up at 9 o'clock, which was basically for you would have been 4 or 3, 2 in the morning. For J Mac, it would have been maybe midnight. But me, I kind of hinted at it earlier, talking about how Aaron Rodgers, how my bold pick about Aaron Rodgers retiring before the end of the season. And I went with career-ending injuries that happen on the field, and I thought it was kind of apropos after last week. after the Bills Jets game and thinking it's how tough it's going to be to him come back. But I remember these injuries so well. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
My number 5. I don't know if you remember seeing this. It was Johnny Knox from Chicago. If you ever get a chance
Maybe.
to look at one of the scariest injuries I've ever seen on the field, Johnny Knox, the back of Johnny Knox's helmet touched his butt when he got hit on a kick
That's not
return.
good.
It was scary, and that's my number 5. He played for the Bears, so mess around will know exactly who and what I'm talking about. And legitimately one of the scariest injuries I've seen. Only one other that I've got on this list is scarier. My number 4, I went with your Dallas Cowboys. I went Michael Irvin. It was one of those injuries that I saw that it was like he barely got touched and went down. He got tackled and then went down and didn't get back up. And I'm like that kind of, it was at that point where I kind of got scared about playing football ever again. And then I ended up playing semi-pro later. I think we talked about this last week, is that he got hurt in Philadelphia. You don't want to get hurt in Philadelphia because the first thing they'll do is they'll cheer. Yeah. My number 3, this is one of the weirder injuries that I've seen, and it was Sterling Sharp. This was another one I think we talked about last week too. About he looked like he was going out for a run block, and next thing you know, he's on the ground. Both the Sterling Sharp and the Michael Irvin injuries were roughly almost looked. If Irvin hadn't gotten tackled, they would almost looked identical because they ended up being the same thing. They had the narrowing of the spinal column up near the neck, and it was all just really weird. My number 2 is my personal favorite. This happened during a playoff game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and back when the Raiders were in Los Angeles, and to see this guy run and then get his leg pulled and then have it dislocated and then put back in one single stride, but has never and never played ever again in the NFL or played any type of pro football again. I did say career-ending injury, even though my number 2 ended up playing baseball after this injury.
He was at Bo Jackson,
and his number 2 is Bo Jackson. And my number one injury, career-ending injury, is probably the one that makes Johnny Knox's injury. Every time I see Johnny Knox, I want to say Johnny Knoxville from Jackass, but I know that's not right. But every time I see
pro wrestler,
I see Johnny Knox's injury, and I think it's not as bad as my number is Joe Theismann. And the thing, none of these guys after their injury had played another down after that. And Joe Theismann happened to be on Monday Night TV on primetime television. So basically the nation watched Lawrence Taylor break Joe Theismann's ankle and leg, almost the same way that Alex Smith, same injury, same spot, same team. It's creepy, and that he got back to play. And Theismann, this is how far we've gone, because Theismann had to retire after that game. Alex Smith had to go rehab for a year and a half to come back. I think two of those were absolutely gruesome injuries to watch, but every one of them cut short careers that could have been amazing. If we're talking in the probably a Hall of Fame career with Sterling Sharp that got cut short. You had 2 other Hall of Famers on that list with Theismann and Irvin. And just the Bo Jackson is the freak of nature that you can dislocate your hip, put it back in one stride is just to tell you the strength and the dexterity that he had, but couldn't play another down in football.
I remember. Well, everybody was saying that when Rodgers went down with his injury, and I remember watching him, but I can't remember this injury. Pennington for the Jets.
Chad
He went
Pennington,
down.
yeah.
Yeah, he went down with kind of that injury. And everybody was comparing that, Rodgers' injury to that. I remember seeing, or not seeing, but hearing about when Emmitt Smith was with, at the time, Phoenix, but Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
Cowboys pretty much ended his career. Football is,
Yeah.
what you signed up for, but everybody doesn't want to hear the injuries.
Yeah, everybody. That's the
know?
weird thing is there was like everybody you know what you signed up for. Yeah, but we don't expect it. We don't want it to happen. We know what we signed up for. Yeah, some of us and J Mac can attest to this. We've had our bell rung. You know, I probably more times than I would like to admit. I've had 7 concussions in my life, and I've had the cobwebs knocked out of me at least a good dozen times more. We know we signed up for it. That's true, but again, we're also not the people that want to see that happen. And sometimes you just have freak injuries, and those 5 on the list were just some of the freakiest injuries I've seen to end a career.
That is true. It's crazy. Now it's time for ask Professor Bacon. I don't really have anything, but I have a trivia question about the Jets.
I hate the Jets. But go ahead.
I know. It's about their draft, and in 2021 they drafted Wilson with the number 1 overall pick. How many? Let me get the exact question. And this was on a Cowboys pregame show, but they're asking a Jets question. Zach Wilson was the 2nd overall pick by the Jets in 2021 draft. Only once have the Jets selected number 1 overall. Can you name who was taken with that pick?
I know this. This is weird. I think I know this one too. I just can't remember because it was in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. And the reason, and I'm going to tell you, here's the reason why I think they asked that question on a Cowboys talk show.
Right.
Because didn't he ended up playing for Dallas later in his career.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it was 90. I want to say 95 or 6.
It was 1996.
1996. And he just happens to be a wide receiver.
Yes.
From Southern California. It was Keyshawn Johnson.
It was Keyshawn Johnson.
I had to think about
that. He also played for Tampa too.
He did. He played for Tampa. I think that was, and I think Tampa sat him down. I think John Gruden sat him down because he didn't want his attitude anymore. But yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The team also has selected with the 2nd overall pick twice, and the 3rd overall pick once. Just a little fact there. So
okay, cool. I'm like, you're gonna have me figure out who the 3rd pick was and who the 2 second words are.
No.
Oh no, man, my brain's gonna blow up.
It was more of a breakdown of they picked in this overall pick twice. And,
right.
So I think that's all we have for today's show. Unless you want to pick a player of the week for Big B, because I don't think he gave his.
I don't know. I don't want to start it. I don't want to start. I don't want to start jinxing players like Big
Right.
B or my wife at this point.
Okay.
No,
Who are you looking forward to the most? Like out this
I,
week.
I'll be honest. I'll give you the matchup I'm looking forward to.
Uh-huh.
And to be honest, the kid that I like, I'll be no, forget it. You know what? I'll pick a player, and I'm gonna go a little. I'm gonna go a little homer a little bit on this. There's this wide receiver out of Indy that came. That's a rookie, and I saw a lot of stuff from him last week. And I really like him, and I really like his attitude, and I really like how he can possess the football. And that kid's Josh Downs, wide receiver out of Indy. I'm telling you, look at this kid. This kid's got potential. This kid could easily become the next Reggie Wayne. I really think, and he's getting coached by Reggie Wayne. I really I like Josh Downs. So I'm going to pose the question to you. Who are you looking forward to seeing this week?
I'll see how Zach Wilson does this week, and I guess Dak too, because he didn't really play all that much. Dak didn't, and then we'll see what happens with Wilson, because he's been up and down throughout his career. At times he looks good, and then at times he just kind of freezes up, and I don't know if he forgets stuff or just kind of, I don't know, feels the pressure. And we'll just, it's going to be an interesting how it goes the remainder of the season. But they are saying that if the Jets do make the playoffs, he could return. Rogers will, if they make the playoffs.
They've got to make the playoffs first.
I know. That's a stretch, I know. But they've been talking about that. That's why he got the early surgery. And I'm sure he could come back, but I just don't see New York making the playoffs.
I don't either.
But that's why we watch the games, pick the games, and we just have fun and see if they come true.
Exactly.
But before we head out, any final thoughts?
Thank you for everybody who watched. Jeremy, J-Mac. It's going to be a great week 2. We're going to see. Hopefully, we're gonna say a prayer later on that maybe not another big quarterback or another big player goes down with Achilles tendon. It's going to be fun. Be safe, have fun, drink beer, but don't go anywhere and do something stupid.
Yeah, everybody stay safe. Thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Enjoy all the games this week, today and tomorrow. And we'll be back next week for morning tailgate. Tomorrow is 4 Bros. Sports Minute is on Wednesday. And just enjoy the week, and we'll be back next week for morning tailgate. And have a great football weekend.